This segment of Delmarva Life is brought to you by Spicer Brothers Construction Incorporated.
You know, we talk all the time about home improvements here on Delmarva Life. One of our most common topics is your roof.
Yeah, we cover things like how to tell when you need a new roof, what options you have when it comes to roofing, and how to choose a reputable roofer. Well, in today's Day in the Life, Sean Stryker climbs on a roof with Spicer Brothers Construction to give you a first-hand look at what goes into being a roofer.
Having a roof over your head is something that can easily be taken for granted. That is, until your roof starts to leak and your shingles start to peel up and fall off. If you happen to be in this situation and live on Delmarva, chances are Spicer Brothers Construction is one of the companies you thought about calling. Brian Spicer started this construction company 17 years ago with his brother.
My older brother and I we were working in the industrial park in Salisbury. We had been in construction, you know, our family forever, and just tired of working for someone else, and you know, with the working long hours.
Over the years, the company evolved, and today Spicer Brothers does it all from siding to windows to decking. Brian, whose primary focus now is running the business, still remembers climbing on the roofs himself.
I remember it very well. I mean, it seems like forever ago.
A roofer's day relies heavily on the weather. They can't work when it's raining or snowing, and in the peak of summer, they have to start work extra early.
We start earlier, and as it gets warmer, we'll start even earlier. So we'll get there as soon as the sun comes up and probably leave 1, 2 o'clock, something like that.
And the day starts with a perimeter check of the house to get a lay of the land.
You look for, you know, obstacles in the way, get the homeowner out, and, you know, knock on the door, do a little walk around with the supervisor. There's a supervisor on every job. You know, they'll find out where they'd like for us to park, where they'd like for us to stage a few materials that we'll need to stage on the ground.
Then it's time to get to work. So I strapped into my safety harness and headed up the ladder.
So, Brian, what's this for?
This is for safety.
So this is, if I fall, then I'll
This
just...
will keep you from hitting the ground.
I'm glad my well-being is on your mind.
And you just want to always keep the slack behind you, because, you know, the rope can get in your way.
All right, so how do I actually remove the shingles?
Okay, you want to take this shingle remover. You get, and again, we're typically from the top down, but this will work fine, just so you can get an idea of how it goes. You just pry them and just peel them up.
After the shingles are removed, the roof is checked for weak spots, which are repaired with plywood. In the case of this house, all new plywood had to be laid down because the base layer, which was cedar shingles, had to be removed.
It is it's a very labor intensive, especially a job like this. This had 3 layers of asphalt shingles, 1 layer of cedar, and then you have to apply it. So 4 layers of material coming off, and then the new plywood going back on.
After the plywood is in place, then comes a layer of ice and water shield, which protects from, you guessed it, ice and water.
Well, we'd lay down a weather watch, ice and water shield barrier at the eaves and around all the penetrations in the valleys.
The crew also puts down the underlayment of the homeowner's choice, which acts as a weather barrier between the roofing materials and the roof. And now it's time to lay the actual shingle.
Oh, I think they're initiating me. Is that straight?
Yep. Yep, there.
Right there?
Yep.
Simple as that.
With that, I thought I had slowed Brian's team down enough and left the rest of the work to the professionals. One thing that became apparent to me as I was up on that roof is that roofing is a tough job, but it's a job that Brian says he loves.
I like meeting with people. I like being on the road every day. I like dealing with homeowners, you know, as opposed to dealing with contractors. Homeowners, you know, they're living there and they want to do, you know, what makes sense, you know, practical things, but they want it to be right.
Something else that's interesting is Brian says they only take off shingles that they know they'll be able to replace that same day, meaning you don't have to rely on tarps to protect your house should it rain overnight.
That's always a good idea. That's a gorgeous roof, wasn't it?
It was.
Nice.
And Sean has a backup job.
Now he knows. There you go. Well, you need to protect your home from excessive water damage, of course. But what about fire? Up next, we're going to learn about prescribed burns, how these flames are helping to keep families safe across the nation, and what to look for to ensure your home is virtually fire resistant.
Well, damage to the home can be incredibly costly. Later, we hear from the local experts on how to properly consolidate your debt. Plus, what they say is the first thing you should get rid of. Delmarva Live, we'll be right back.